It's like, can you join after? And then like that kind of terror from my family, because most of my relatives are non-Catholic, so they don't understand. From this poster boy who is rich in Singapore, suddenly you want to let go of everything. Are you stupid or crazy? Or yeah, some relatives say Robin is crazy, he's out of his mind. Some people say, oh, maybe he's just having crisis. After 2 years, he will come back. That kind of thing. So it was a tough decision, but I reached a point when I thought to myself that if this is my life, if pain is part of the process, I will go through pain. So sharing with my mom, to saw her crying and begging me not to join, it was the most painful moment in my life. But I still, I decided to join still, despite her disagreement. But slowly, I think about 30 or 4th year of my formation journey, she came and then stayed with me, and then she stayed for about a week, I think. And then she saw how I live, the way I do things, and then what I do, and then at the end of her stay, actually, she said to me that she didn't understand why you choose. Right? She said, Robin, I do understand why I choose this way of life, and you will help me. I think for any mother, any parents, if the children are happy, until they see that you are happy, I think you will be happy too. That's my story. It is a bit uncomfortable to share in front of Pina because she knows my family. Yeah, so. Yeah, but after all, what I would like to share with you, right? Our journey, regardless whether you are a single, whether you are married or you choose to be religious, our journey through life is not a mystery of God. God reveals His plan for us, and He showed us what it is about. Our journey is to be like Christ. Remember when Christ said to Thomas, see my wounds, come and touch it. All of us actually like Thomas. Thomas, if you remember, we now remember Thomas as the one who doubted. But if you read Bible, the other part of the Bible, Thomas is the one who said, let me go with you and die with you. That's how much Thomas loved Jesus too. But the invitation of Jesus is, come, touch my wounds. And each of us are called to be witness for the world by embracing the cross. Marriage, there will be suffering. Religious life, a lot of suffering too. Religious life, I struggle a lot with loneliness. I share with Oka, because like sometimes you are in church and then you meet people, wow, happy. But when people go home, you go back to your room and you're alone. If I don't have prayer life with God, the emptiness is very difficult. And Oka shared with me, have you ever thought if you're married, you sleep on the same bed with your partner, with your wife or with your spouse, but you are not talking to each other or you're doing anything? How lonely can that be, that you are sleeping with someone but you are strangers? So I think that's the challenge that we have, and that's why in marriage you must have relationship with God to make sense of your relationship with each other, so that you can see God in each other. And in the same way that like how religious must have relationship with God to make sense of what He does. Because otherwise it doesn't make sense to work without earning salary, to do things that, At this one, any questions?
I think you mentioned about having a single and having a story. I think in today's world, it is being portrayed the other way. answering God's calling is not something that being portrayed joyful and happy. Instead, a lot of the world says that pursue your career, pursue your dream, and sometimes that may not be what God is calling us to. So maybe can you share if it's really bring joy to you? Because you also struggle with joy and stuff like that. What are the joy that you experience so far?
Every time when I struggle in my community, I follow the Ignatian spirituality that don't make decision when you are super down or super high. So every time I'm stable again, when I look back, despite of the struggles, right, I think I become a better person. Not perfect yet, but I can see I'm growing. I become, for example, you can see that if it's like marriage, if you review yourself, this person becoming less and less lovable, this person becoming more and more annoying. But if you see yourself, you are growing as a person, you become more generous, you become more humble, you become less of me but more of my children and my spouse. I think that's where you are meant to be. Because again, in the end, we must realize that it is not about me, but it is about the other. For marriage, the other is your spouse and your children. But for religious, you said you are married to the church. Your other is the church.
So I can say that by becoming more like Christ or becoming closer to Christ gives joy.
I don't know how is your experience. Increment in salary, even 10%. How long the happiness lasts? I think 3-4 months. That's all. After 4 months, I think you should get even higher. I mean, after 5 times is receiving that new salary, I think the joy of new salary is gone. I think that's the thing that we don't realize, that we keep looking for things that is temporal. While what is important is, it's not about God. Like, to say that, oh, we are looking to seeking God is very abstract. It's the relationship. God exists in our relationship with one another. One of the joy for me in to live as a Franciscan is the joy in community. It's not that we are always happy. It is the biggest joy for me when we reconcile. When we reconcile and I decide I would like to begin again. Let's restart. Because if I can restart with my community, that means the bigger church can restart again in our relationship with one another. If the church who are Christians can restart with one another, I think the whole world, we have hope for that. If everyone can, okay, let's restart again, let's reconcile and begin again.
How did you decide to choose Franciscan order? Like, because in Singapore got a lot of options, and but yeah, why did you choose?
I had, I guess it was like first love, first encounter was Franciscan, right? But when I wanted to join something, initially I was decided to be diocesan. With the practicality, diocesan you can keep your saving, diocesan you can keep your
Seriously?
yeah, they can. Not to be, I don't know exactly. If I'm not mistaken, to be a priest, you take the vow of obedience, promise of poverty, and then celibacy. So it is
Promise is just
two, right? Poverty is not part of it.
two promises. Promise to be celibate,
Yes.
promise to be obedient to the bishop.
Yeah, that's why. So that's why it is more practical for me.
What a Franciscan?
Religious generally, 3 vow: obedience, poverty, chastity. Yeah. So, but when I listened to the diocesan priest, it didn't feel right. I don't know why. It just didn't feel like home when I
So you tried.
stayed. Yeah. When I stayed with the friars, I felt like, oh, this is. And my falling in love with the Franciscan, actually, it was not, oh, I fell in love with Saint Francis, I want to be like him. No, I fell in love with the friars of today. In fact, I couldn't relate to Saint Francis who love birds, who love animals. Because I'm scared of dogs. I don't like cats. So, yeah, so I'm the opposite of Saint Francis in that way. But only when I joined, I learned about Francis. I fell in love with him because Saint Francis is portrayed as someone who is peaceful, love nature. But when I studied about him, when people wrote about him during that period, during medieval period, we didn't have the psychology, the science of today. But when people start writing about him again today, there's high chance that Saint Francis is either bipolar or having PTSD, the post-traumatic stress disorder. Because his conversion, he was actually a happy party goers, that kind of thing. He's a charming man, everyone loves him. And he went to war to fight in Perugia because he was ambitious. He was ambitious, he wanted to be a major, because at that time there are major and minor in the society, the class. So he was not from the major class. To go up to that class is either you win in war or either, I can't remember, but it is more like the way for him was by being a soldier and then win the war and then you'll be promoted. So he was an ambitious man until he was captured. He was captured and then he was in dungeon for about a year. So it was in that dungeon that conversion happened, when he felt betrayed by his dream, when he was in the dungeon only to see other people die, and then rats came and ate the body, and then the flies came. That's why until the end of his life he couldn't stand rats and flies. Because the trauma kept coming back to him. We would speculate now that during the war he must have killed many people. That after he was the parents paid ransom to take him out, he began a life of penance. So when he began life of penance, at that time there was a formula: if you kill, you must fast how many times, you must do this much. There's a formula. So that's why in Francis' life, he fasted, I think in a year, he fasted like maybe 9 months or something like that. So we would think that maybe he killed a lot of people, and maybe he felt so small, so dirty in that prison, until he felt if he's so sinful, so dirty, and God is merciful to him, he must be merciful to anyone. That's why the message of mercy, the message of like humble, is very strong in Francis. That's the Francis that I fell in love finally. Because for me, he became real for me. I couldn't relate with the Francis who in the garden spinning around. Even Canticle of the Sun, the heaven, praise be the sun, praise be the moon. He wrote that. It's not that romanticized by the nature, and then he wrote that. He wrote that towards the end of his life. He was very sick. He was turning blind. When he was blind, and he was talking about the sun being shiny, bright, and because he starts seeing things from his heart. So after I joined, then I fell in love with that Francis. Before I joined, I was not exposed to that Francis.
So is it because of the deal with Francis?
No, we have study of who Francis was.
No, I mean initially why?
Because first encounter was during uni with Franciscan, but then I joined World Youth Day also with Franciscan in 2008. So it's just I like. But in the end, each congregation, right? They have their own thing. I give you one example. For example, Jesuit is very into mission. Jesuit, they are very much they like the discernment. They are thinking what is the will of God, what is the will of God that I'm meant to do that. Franciscan take a different point of view. Francis didn't look for the will of God. Francis just want to live like Christ. So the angle is different. Both are actually, it depends on your personality and what you like. Questions?
Okay, I want to ask, I mean, throughout the journey, yeah, maybe ever since you accept the calling, is there any moment when you feel that I think it's too difficult for me to live like this? I think this calling may not be for me. Maybe that kind of thought come. Have you ever experienced that or not?
Few times. One of the major ones, I share with you the major ones. First one, when the girl that I loved got married.
And that's after.
After I joined, yeah, after I joined, then to receive the message that hi, I'm getting married, and then blah, blah, would you come, blah blah blah, and even help out in the church. Wow, it was yeah, it was like reading that message. It was like I literally felt it was hot in my chest. Uh, but I was wrong also because at the back of my mind it's like if I don't make it to be a friar, I will leave and I will pursue the goal again. So somehow there's a thought of like I have a backup plan. But it was not meant to be, and then like when I read that it was wow, so even to be in the church to see her walking down the aisle, I said to myself it could have been me that kind of thing. So but I think as much as it was a struggle, it was an affirmation that when I had the silence and then pray after I got over the sadness, uh, I asked myself if I have the chance to choose again, I still choose this way. So it became an affirmation that in future, if I fall in love again, actually I would say to myself, I would rather be with that girl. If I would like to get married or would like to what, it was she that I would like to be with. So in a way, it became an affirmation that I would still choose this. And I was very happy and liberating when I felt that, yeah, I'm choosing this still. Yeah, the other moment is actually when you messaged me early May, right? Something like that. I was in my big struggle because of the conflicts in my community among the brothers. But again, it was the reflection, the second Sunday of Easter, the reflection is about that Thomas come and touch my wounds. So in the end, like betrayal, sense of being left out, I think it is part of life, like even in marriage.
Do you plan to be a priest or
Uh,
continue?
I joined. I wanted to be a lay brother because I thought being a lay brother is more free. You can serve in school, you can be teacher, you can work in an office or that kind of thing. Yeah. No, I mean as a friar, I can do that. I mean as a lay brother because only in Singapore we don't have that. In other parts of the world, there are friars, they're lecturer, they can be anything, even nurse in hospital, that kind of thing. But then, as I continued my journey, I found, and my formator is the one who identified. You have the gift of what is necessary to be a priest, and then if you are given that gift, it is not about you, right? You said you give your life, and then why not becoming a priest? He invited me to start discerning about that, and because it must be a free choice that I would like to. And I think at the moment I'm on the path to priesthood, and honestly, sometimes I still doubt because the doubt is more like I just want to have the freedom of doing what I want to do, that kind of thing. But because as a priest, sometimes the bishop likes you to do things that can assign you things that yeah. So, but again, when I tried to reflect and I said, if this life is not for me, it's for the others, and if the Lord gives me the gift to be able to minister as a priest.
Questions? I have a question. So, let's
let's say if like before when I mean like when you actually answer the call to your religious brothers, right? Okay, is there any like financial contingency that you plan for your family? Because I mean in my point of view, it is true that it is my decision that I want to actually pursue my own vision, but the thing is my parents and my sibling, they are not called to like religious life. So how should I actually be responsible as a daughter? Yeah, but at the same time to also like call. I mean like answering God's call.
My struggle is that like what you said. After I joined religious, I don't earn money anymore. Right? Somehow the lifestyle of my mom also changed. Because I used to support her, she can come, she can go holiday maybe once a year or something like that. But then it changed because I don't support her anymore, right? There was a guilt initially that I think until today sometimes I still feel the failure of being a son cannot give my mom money. But again, the question that I always ask myself is that really what is meant to be? It's like we are fed by the society that to be happy means certain amount of money, certain kind of lifestyle. But when I reflect on my own family, even when we were poor, I think we were not suffering. We couldn't buy things that we wanted sometimes, but it didn't mean that we were not happy. In fact, I would say when we were poor, the relationship was stronger. I give you an example like this. When we were struggling as a family, and then my elder sister graduate, second sister graduate, and they start working, right? It was a happy moment when they receive their salary and then they bring food home and then to share with family, and then they take turn to bring us out to have a good meal outside. When everyone has graduated and earned money, the quarrel of my family sometimes, we go out to restaurant, right? And actually, we can afford, but it's just how much are you taking out your money? How much are you taking out your money? When we don't have enough, we don't mind to share. When we have, it becomes a comparison. I don't want to be less than you. Do you realize that that happens also in our society? Sometimes the poor is easy to share. It is the rich that I must make sure I'm richer than you. So I think in that way, I think my family struggled. There was a time when my mom was hospitalized. I was wondering, if she has to go for long-term treatment, how's the finance? But that's the part when I think must take the leap of faith. I remember there's one time the priest told me when I was listening. He said, if God took care of Mother Mary after Jesus left the earth, your mother should be okay. He said it. And I think so far 6 years already, I think she's okay.
So when will you take your final vow?
Pray for me, please.
Oh, actually, I have a certain curiosity about the poverty vow. So, like you say, you don't really earn money. So, does it mean like this? How actually one order manage their finances as one community? I just like interested how you share.
Okay, I live with 7 students and then 4 friars who work full time. So those who work full time, their salary goes to the community. So my formator Mike Cruz work in SGI as teacher. His salary as teacher goes to the community. So we eat using that money, and then for people in the formation, the custody also, the organization give for each student the amount for their food, that kind of thing to support the house. And the order get the amount, the money from the work also. For example, the columbarium. For example, the work of the friars, and people donate. People's donation also play a big part. So on our part, Franciscan is known to be the party and then happy and then always eat, that kind of thing, because that's our charism really. Because we want to build relationship, and the easiest for you to build relationship is over the meal. So if you, I think maybe the question that you are shy to ask is like, how much is your allowance? My allowance is 250. Yeah, 250. It is not big, but it is enough for me to go out, and then like sometimes I go out with someone I because I don't really believe, even if I go with my friends, I said if I can pay, I would like to pay lah, at least for my share. It's not like otherwise I become expecting.
One last. So I think talking about life is not about ourselves. I think a lot of us struggle, even I think for us, we're struggling with self-esteem. We're still struggling with putting me at the center of everything. And since our team is Yolo, do you have anything to say for us who are still, finding things and all not to do us calling life, pressure from society, blah blah blah.
I think
It's for the young people.
I love art therapy. One of the therapy that I did, maybe I just open because in my struggle in my community is sometimes I work hard in my community. I always seek for affirmation. I need affirmation in my life, especially from my brothers. If they go out without telling me, I will feel hurt so much. And I was in my spiritual direction. We were talking about that, and I was wondering how am I so sensitive? Like something people don't even intentionally did it to me, but it just hurt me so much. Then he asked me to try to, and during our spiritual direction, my SD realized why you keep looking at the back. There's a painting there, and then it was a prodigal son painting. Then I said, I don't know. I was attracted to that, and then I was some kind of disturbed lah. So he suggested, why don't you just buy a painting of that and then put in your room and then start talking to the painting, that kind of thing. But I decided I wanted to paint myself. I didn't know that I could paint, but I just tried to paint. And then this is my first painting, and I painted this. So when I painted this, and I really spoke to my painting, and I realized if this is me, when it comes to my father, I'm back to that boy, the 9-year-old boy, 10-year-old boy. I'm still stuck there. And I think for each of us, right, for us to grow mature, to take the steps to move towards the cross, embrace it. I think that's the part that sometimes we forget, that we grow up being mature physically, but mentally, spiritually, where am I? How old am I? Am I still 16? Feeling always competing with the people around me, competing whether am I prettier, am I slimmer, or I think that's the part that sometimes we forget, that who am I beyond the physical. And I think we need openness, humility, honesty. Difficult to accept ourselves sometimes. I don't know if I answered your question.
Yes. Thank you.
Next question.
Yeah, wow, what was that?
Any burning last question?
Last
Still
one, last one.
chance.
One burning one following this question actually. So yeah, you mentioned you only have 250 allowance, right? But let's say you need a new phone or your family member gets sick. Can you still ask the community to keep
The community becomes my new family. So, for example, I need to buy something like even laptop, for example. If I really need, I think the community will buy. But at the same time, because they are my family. There's nothing I said. Our vow actually not poverty. It's nothing of my own. So for example, I have laptop. The laptop is used for the sake of our work together. It will not be okay. This is my laptop. Don't touch. So one brother like photography. He buy a camera, that kind of thing. But it is for the use of, for our ministry, for from his hobby becomes like, okay, we have community photo, we have nice photos, that kind of thing. It is for the service.
Just curious, like when you first decided to join the priesthood, then like you have to give up all the salary, all the things that you have like worked for like for many years. Where it goes to and what do you feel at the time? Like, isn't it hard or is like okay
Until I take my final vow. At the moment, all my savings, everything is frozen. I mean, like I cannot touch, but it is still there. But when I take my solemn vow, it must be given away. So my plan is to give to my mom for her future. Yeah. How did I feel? It is almost like having salary increment. This one Sunday I lost everything. I cannot buy things that I want. But the struggle maybe half a year. After that I got used to it and then in terms of vow, right? There's one question: which one is the most difficult? It is obedience. It's like to our superior, to community. It's like you don't even have your own will. Like I haven't experienced that, but in smaller things, like for example, you don't agree with things like that, but for the sake of community, okay, you have to agree. Just like in family life, I think obedience among husband and wife is also difficult.
I think it's our fallen nature.
Okay, so
Thank you, bro.
thank you so much for your sharing. Really touch a lot of us. Yeah, so I think it's been really meaningful story, and I think we can really see how God has worked in your life. So and hopefully all the sharing can be also fruitful for everyone else right here. So I think as we close, I think, and also as we close this series, I think let's not forget what we have learned, the different people who have shared with us, and